Hey guys, what's up? It's Jen, and we're coming live on our weekly Facebook Live show in the Profitable PR Pros community. I am the founder of that group, and our purpose, our goal is to help you as a publicist to become a pitching powerhouse, create amazing connections with the media so you can leverage those to secure better results and bigger clients. Hello, guys. And then help you to launch, grow, and scale a profitable PR agency. Check out profitableprpros.com. That is our hub of free resources to paid comprehensive programs to help you become a pitching powerhouse and to launch, grow, and scale your own profitable PR agency. I'm also the founder of my own PR firm, Generation PR, based in Los Angeles. I'm looking at the time to make sure that I give it enough time for people to jump on, and I see a few are here. You know that I can see who's here in the comments. Oh, there it is. Okay. Hi, Ashley, Angel, Gail. Nice to see you all. Welcome, Angel. It was good to see you on the call yesterday. We did a bonus coaching call for our newest members of the Agency Accelerator. I thought the call was off the hook. What'd you think? Well, off the hook for a call sounds so funny, right? Because I guess for a phone call, it would have to be off the hook. But it was a Zoom call. It was off the chain. It was so good. What I love is how collaborative the calls are. And it was an opportunity for members of the Agency Accelerator to see what it's like to be a part of our Plus Agency Accelerator Plus program, which is community, coaching, accountability, mentorship. And Angel said it was so insightful. I learned a lot about agency life. Yeah, I always learn something on those calls. And just so you all know, anyone who has never been to one of our Agency Accelerator Plus coaching calls, it's not just me talking at you. There is no way that I'm going to know all of the things that collectively as a group we're able to bring to the table. And it's just really awesome to see people coming, sharing their expertise, helping their peers. And I tend to know where everyone is in their businesses. And if I don't, I ask. So I have awareness and I call on people when I know they're going to have experience that will be useful to the group or help answer a question. Like one of the questions was, how do you secure a $1 billion client? How do you step up and secure an internationally recognized brand as a client? Hi, Nelson. Thanks for being here as always. So it was, I mean, I've done it. I have had several $1 billion clients. So I shared how we've been able to do it. And I know another person on the call has a major publicly traded company, a division that's a household name. And I called on her, and it was interesting to see that our experience of how we were able to bring those clients into our businesses were really similar. We tried to make the advice as practical, actionable as possible, but really amazing community coming together, just like we do on these calls, but this is like everyone's faces on Zoom. And I know we're all over Zooms, but honestly, I look forward to those calls every single month. And I always learn something. And Angel, I'm so glad to hear you found that call insightful. Today's discussion, I knew it would be a popular one, like last week was, with those shady PR agencies trying to kind of scam people into pay to play only, and how annoying and how gross and how mad. And I can't tell you how many people have emailed me this week. Hi, Barb. Nice to see you. How many people have emailed me this week? Like, oh, the shady agencies are striking again, and they'll forward me these like disgusting tactics. One of them was so ridiculous. I was just like, are they kidding me with this? It was so bad. So anyway, I've gotten many of those emails, and I see that it's becoming more and more frequent. So if you missed that one, it was a really good chat last week about how you address those situations with your clients so that you have an answer when they say, well, why do I have to pay you if results aren't guaranteed? An Angel saying, I saw an ad for one that was $1. That one came my way as well. People sent it to me. Hi, Monica. And hi, Claudia. I know my mom watches. She's a lurker. So you hear me talk about Claudia. That's my mom. She's the best. Hi, Mom. I love you. Okay, so how are we building better relationships with journalists? We know as PR pros that having these connections are essential. How do you actually go about building these relationships? So today I'm going to share 4 big picture strategies and a lot of really helpful tips to help you build these genuine relationships with journalists. Hi, Jasmine. Yeah, I'm glad you're here for this discussion. So for my seasoned pros like, Nelson and people that have been doing this a long time, consider this just a quick refresher and a friendly reminder to start doing this again. You can always build your relationships. I know Nelson is very proactive about this and has really deep connections with his media contacts. I sometimes let it slide a little bit because I just go about doing other things and I forget that this is a very important ongoing part of running your own agency. So remember, this is a friendly reminder for my seasoned pros out there. And for my brand new, just starting out, like Ashley, Angel, Barb's been doing this a while, but I want to remind you that I started my own firm with no contacts whatsoever. Nothing. I was an attorney. Hold on one sec. That was the weirdest noise I just heard from my cat. Oh my God, I have a very old cat and he's starting to act a little odd. I was telling the group yesterday, he walked into a fireplace while the fire was lit and we couldn't get to him and he singed his tail and my kids were freaking out. Anyway, he just made the weirdest noise. Anyway, sorry guys. So, I started my business, no contacts. I was an attorney. I shifted careers with just nothing, and I just made the leap. And I realized as I was building my media connections that it comes down to being helpful, useful, offering relevant information to media contacts, to freelancers, editors, journalists, producers. It has to be the right fit at the right time. This is the premise and the foundation of the Pitch Lab, which is our monthly membership community. It's awesome. If you're in the Pitch Lab, several of you on here are. Let me know in the comments what you think of the program and the resources we share. But that's the premise, is offering timely, relevant ideas, high quality things. So you can build relationships, but there's also some steps that I want you to take ahead of time. So if I'm an example, if anything, I just want to share my story that I came into this and started an agency. I didn't even just start like working for someone else's business or freelancing. I was like, we're starting a PR agency with, and Angel says, love the Pitch Lab. I'm so happy to hear that. I always am so thrilled to hear that. I said, I can do this. I started doing it on the side, unpaid. Started earning some paid clients for below market, said, let's give it a very limited window. But that's how I built my relationships, by having stuff to pitch, and started a PR firm 16 years ago. And this was the approach that I took. So I want you to be encouraged with my journey as an example. And I'd say now it's easier than ever. Back then, it felt almost like you had to have a big agency name behind you to get attention. And that was never true, but that was kind of more widely assumed, I guess. And now there are so many amazing boutique agencies. And as long as you are going through these steps and offer something of value, they want to hear from you, okay? And you can build meaningful relationships. So, okay, we're going to dive into 4 strategies. The first tip I have is, and also as I'm going through them, post in the comments if you do this, if you would like to start doing this, if you feel like this is something you've tried and what are the results. Like, I'd love to hear as we're going through it, how these strategies have worked for you. So the first tip is start building relationships before you formally pitch or introduce yourself. Relationships really do take time, and you want to build something where you're giving and sharing and supporting and being useful before you ask for anything, so it's like, like imagine you're having a dinner party and there's like one extra spot and someone is just like, I want to come to your dinner party. And you're like, well, I don't even know you. And, awesome. Angel's been doing this. We share some of these strategies in the pitch lab as well. So it's like you gotta take a little time before you go in for the kill. Otherwise, it's just like, what can you do for me? I'm here and I'm taking from you. What is it that you're gonna do for me? And you have to show the journalists ahead of time that you're interested, that you're dialed into what they're up to, that you are familiar with their work. It's like you're aware. They want to have an understanding that you get what they're about, what they write about, what they cover. You're like a cool person. It's a relationship, right? So you're building a connection based on like having something to talk about and having an affinity and having you be somebody that they would want to work with, essentially, right? So you're being normal and not stocky and don't be one of these like, was it something I said? If you don't get a reply, it's so gross. Don't be that. But you start out by engaging with the media. So you're on their radar well before you want to be featured or have your clients featured in their stories. So to do this, you can engage with their tweets if you have some value to add. So you reply to their tweets with, great piece or well-written article, through like, if you say something like, well-written article, I'd love to speak with you about, and then you kind of shamelessly plug your client here, that doesn't cut it, or a great piece doesn't cut it, right? You want to spend time reading their articles and get to know what they're like and what they like and what they don't like. So Gail, as a former journalist, give us some insight here. As a gatekeeper on the other side, how would somebody make a meaningful connection with you? How would they show you that they're going to have useful information down the road, but in the beginning, they're opening a dialogue? Right? So instead, spend time. You want to show that you are checked into their content. So spend time reading their articles, get to know what they like and what they don't like. You should favorite their content, retweet it, reply to their tweets. Twitter's so great. Oh, we're going to get to that, Monica. So Monica's saying, I'm a freelance writer and my niche is mature women's audience. And yet I constantly receive pitches for baby products. Ugh. Yeah, we pitch baby products all the time. And I promise you, our contacts are dialed in and they want to hear about what we're pitching. It's very aligned. Yeah, so it's interesting to hear that. People just don't do their research. We call it spray and pray. It's haphazard and hasty. It's not researched. We want to get you into timed the right way and highly relevant. It's like a quadrant. And if I've attended our, what is it called? From Crickets to Crushing It. We have a masterclass that's really good. And if you've attended that, we have this quadrant. We want to move you. I guess I'm backwards. So we want to move you into pitching powerhouse. So you're sending highly relevant, well-timed pitches that are perfectly aligned with what the journalist covers. That's it. Simple. But we want you to open up the door with communication by favoriting, retweeting, replying to their tweets. That doesn't just go for Twitter, right? Like, so journalists sometimes have a blog or a newsletter. Follow it, subscribe to it, comment on their stories. I'll reply to their newsletter. Like Jason Pfeiffer from Entrepreneur has a newsletter that he sends out, I think weekly, and just reply. He'll write you back, and you'll be dialed into the kind of stuff he covers, what his personality is like. It's very insightful, and a lot of journalists are starting to do this now. So comment on their stories that you find on the publication's website. And that not only helps them recognize your name, but it shows you're interested in what they're writing and you're supportive and you're really checked in. So it's kind of that initial, introduction to seeing your name or seeing your agency name, and that you're just like a normal person who's doing their research. And this is yet again one of the reasons why I tell you to niche down. There's so many reasons why you should niche down. And one of them is so you don't have to overwhelm yourself with knowing 700 different journalists at 700 different types of publications. You want to know the players in your space. So if you have a more narrow niche, you will be able to make deeper connections. Does that make sense? There's also so many other reasons. In the Agency Accelerator, it's one of the foundations is niching down to, earn more of a reputation as being an expert and to charge more. So people will seek you out as a highly sought after expert. Okay, that's tip number 1. To recap, start building relationships before you formally pitch and introduce yourself. Go deep on Twitter. Don't just retweet something and say, I want to introduce you to my client. Totally makes sense. Awesome, Ashley. Ashley is here going all in, okay? She is getting her degree. She is working full time and she has a baby. And I just want to commend Ashley for showing up. She shows up, she participates, she puts in the work. And I'm really inspired by that, honestly. Anytime I see somebody that has decided on a dream and they're putting in the effort to make it happen, and I see that you're consistently showing up, I just think that's so inspiring, commendable. It's so awesome, Ashley. You are going to make this happen. And I'm just so honored to get to support you. But I just want to acknowledge that I see you, and I see you. I see you, Ashley. Gail is saying you could get so much info from just casual conversation. Absolutely. If you have friends in media, follow up on articles they've done, ask questions, mention something you've learned from something they've written. I love that, Gail, something you've learned and also something that you've applied and gotten results from their effort, or it somehow made an impact in your life. How awesome is that to hear someone, to tell a journalist, your writing, your body of work has had an impact on me or has had an impact on my clients or my children or my business or whatever. People love to hear that. It's meaningful, it's personal. So that I totally align with what Gail is saying. So tip number 2 is try to make real connections rather than just self-promoting. Make a real connection. And I recommend, and this actually came up quite a bit in some of our coaching calls, and we've even had journalists come in and talk to us about what works with them. But they suggested, and we do this, inviting the journalist to coffee or a virtual Zoom coffee. That's working really well these days. It's really kind of fun to get their attention to send out a Starbucks gift card and invite media contacts to come and chat with you. You can send a virtual gift card. It doesn't even have to be a physical card in the mail, although you can do that. We've actually packed up kits of iced brewed coffee in cans, like really cute, in a little thing with a mug and then a Starbucks gift card on top of it, and said, like, let's have coffee. It's a little, it's like a $20 thing with shipping, and it just gets their attention. And, they'll give you 15 minutes. And sometimes it goes into a longer discussion because you're riffing, you're having a good time. If you make the commitment small for them. Hi, Sally. Yeah, Sally says, yes, real connections matter. There's so much self-promotion, and it just doesn't work. It's gross, right? Like, imagine a conversation you have with someone in just a casual encounter, and all they do is talk about themselves, and all they do is ask you for stuff. You know those people, and you're like, they're users, and like, it feels gross. I've cut those kinds of friends out of my life because I want to surround myself with people that make me feel good and bring me energy and get me fired up and get me inspired to be a better person. And, those people that are kind of a drain and a drag, and they only talk about themselves, and the only time they ever talk to you is when they want something. That's gross. I don't want those people in my life. And that's what you come off as when you pitch a journalist cold turkey with a client, and you're just asking them to give you something without ever forming a relationship. That's why this is so important. So invite them to coffee, send them a gift card. It's really meaningful. It lets you build real meaningful connections, relationships, rather than just landing in someone's inbox and asking for something. And then during these types of meetings, you can ask questions like, what are you working on? How can I be of value to you? Right? And sometimes you may have someone in your network who isn't a client, but could be extremely useful. And you're forming this connection. You're being a facilitator. You're being someone who's like, oh my God, I want to make this introduction. You two are so aligned. Let me introduce you to them. Or I see you love travel and you're talking about going to Peru and going to Machu Picchu. I have a friend that just did the Inca Trail. I'd love to connect you with them. That's not about put my client in a story, but that person's going to be more receptive to receiving a pitch from you. And just ask them, what are you working on? How can I help you? How can I support you? How can I be of value to you? And they'll tell you. They will tell you. Your goal in building relationships with your media contacts should always, always be to provide assistance, to be of value, be as helpful as possible. And Gail's saying it really helps to join media orgs too. I'm in NABJ and NBPRS. I'm not in either of those, I gotta say. So fill me in on National Association of Broadcast Journalists. I'm assuming NABJ, but then the second I don't know, sorry, tell me. And also join or follow orgs in your area of interest for inside knowledge. Absolutely, you have to. That's, again, niche down. You got to know what is happening in your industry, staying on top of it. So be helpful, invite them to coffee. $10 at Starbucks, a virtual gift card, it's nothing. It's nothing. And you can write it off. And if you target it on 10 contacts, it's $100. And just try to build relationships and do it a little bit over time. And you'll be surprised if you just say, hey, I'd love to have, how can I help you, is so powerful, what Nelson says. It shows that you are not in it for yourself. Right. It's so simple, right? When you niche down, the area is vast. When you niche down, the area is vast. Sally, I don't get it. There's just so much. You have to narrow in and follow a few key players and really form meaningful connections. And like I said, if you're just trying to appeal to all people, you're going to run yourself ragged and you're not going to be an expert in really anything. So narrow down a few niches. We actually had a really good discussion yesterday in the coaching call in the Agency Accelerator about niching down. It's a deep well. Yeah. That's right. You niche down and you go deep instead of broad. That's exactly right. That makes a lot of sense, Sally. So the call we talked about for someone who's just starting out and expanding on copywriting, which is what Jasmine said. So somebody was expanding their copywriting. Oh, National Association of Black Journalists. Okay, got it. And National Black Public Relations Society. Okay, I got it. Thank you for clarifying, Gail. I got that wrong, but I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah. Tell us what kind of connections or value you've gotten out of the group and how you've been able to contribute to it. I'd love to hear about that from you. What was I saying? So we helped her figure out not necessarily like a definitive answer for how she should niche down and what her niche should be. Okay, Christina, awesome. She's saying these tips are so helpful, especially everyone sharing in the comments. That's why I love this. It's collaborative, right? As a new agency owner, this is huge. Christina, you have to get in the Agency Accelerator. You are going to like fast track your results. You're going to feel this. If you think this is good, the free stuff, wait till you see what we have behind the gate. Okay, so do your research. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Sorry about that. Okay, number 3, do your research. It's really frustrating for any journalist to receive pitches that have nothing to do with their job, right? Like, I have to scroll back and see who said it. Monica, who said, I'm a freelance writer. She writes about mature women and she's getting baby pitches. If you pitch a journalist something that is irrelevant, that is spray and pray mass pitching, has nothing to do with them, or is so generic that it took no effort for you to research. I mean, you put in no effort to research what they're all about. It can land you on a blocked list. They're just going to put your email domain in like a do not receive because you're super annoying to them. It's time consuming for them to skim and be like, what is this mess? So before you send a pitch or reach out to a journalist, start building these relationships, right? You're reaching out. You need to dig deep and research and learn more about these contacts you're trying and these connections you're trying to make. What are the types of stories they cover? What is their audience? And then ask yourself, would they care about this? I'm going to put that in the comments because if I'm blinking out, this is so simple. It's yet another one that's just like, I did. Ugh, okay. Sorry, guys. Would they care about this? If the answer is no, move on. Don't pitch them. Don't try to fit a square peg in a round hole. This Sally saying the pitch lab and the agency accelerator is wonderful. Thank you. So research, simple. What are the last 3 articles that they've written? You know, that's probably their most current area of interest. Sometimes they're writing for a bunch of different publications. Be really straight on which one you're pitching, right? Like so there's a writer we work with who has her own podcast and has her own platform. Why will they care? Christina, awesome. Yeah, I was just mentioning this on my stories today. Why will they care? You've got to ask yourself that question. And why is it newsworthy? Yes. Gail is always just dropping those bombs, right? Always dropping the relevant stuff because she's a journalist. Why is it newsworthy? Why do they care? Why now? Why them? Why their publication? Simple, right? But it's something that's often overlooked in an effort to just be quick and get volume of pitches out. And that doesn't work. It doesn't convert. So make sure that you're actually reading what the journalist writes and that you know their audience. You know who their audience is. The other point of this is if you read an article that a journalist has written and you feel your client would be a good fit for it, don't pitch your client for that article. It's over. It's done. They're not going to amend the article as much as your client would love for them to do that. Usually the idea comes from them. They're not going to edit their article to include your client just because they're such a great fit. Look at that as evidence that they're writing content that's relevant for what your client is a fit for, and come up with something new. Come up with maybe an alternative perspective or the next logical point that would come after the article they wrote. Something that'll enhance it for another piece, you know? And if you want to be really bold and contradict it, you can try that too and show some evidence, and it could open a dialogue. Journalists that write an in-depth article on something, they love to engage in friendly debate because they're, you know, experts on the topic they've written about, they've researched it and everything. So if you can start a dialogue, you may get their attention. Okay. So Christina, I can't lie. The agency accelerator seems interesting. It's super good, but all I want is to deliver amazing results to my clients who trust me with their investments. I totally get that. I would start in the pitch lab. It's a super no-brainer, you know, low monthly. It's just a monthly fee and you can just stop at any time. And that one is going to help you craft really stellar pitches. We do these monthly execution plans that are chef's kiss. They're so good. And I say this because most of the content is not coming from me. It's a collaborative effort. We have pros that are 10 plus years of experience contributing to all of this, and they're comprehensive. We're pulling editorial calendars. We are just starting to get 2022 in for their editorial calendars for each publication and month. Am I still skipping out all the time? Can someone tell me? So start there. It's excellent. It's awesome. I am going to just put it. Why not? So you can check it out, but don't go now. Go later. So that you can learn what we're doing here, and it's free what we're doing here. Yes, I am. Oh my God, guys, I'm sorry. That's so annoying. Anyway, if you miss a point that I say and you want me, because it glitches, my kids say glitch, you're glitchy. Oh, it's working now. Okay, good. Then tell me and I'll repeat it. Okay, so editorial calendars. Yeah, no, it's really good. We do as much as we can from what we're getting from the publications. It's mostly considering we build in long and short leads. So we're building in those. We have some short leads and long leads, but we're getting 2022. You see, it's like it rolls out over time. Oh, boo. Gail saying frozen on video. I don't know. Sorry, guys. What's going on? Anyway, I will give the last tip and I will stay on. Remember number 4, that journalists are people too. This is like, if it's, I'm going to go back to this comment because it's good. Sally says there's a lot of material that is so valuable. You'll learn lots of valuable things, and you'll learn things that will keep you out of trouble and pain. Yeah, we try to cover all our bases. We definitely want to keep you out of trouble. Okay, this one, remembering that journalists are people too, was so helpful for me. There was a lot of this. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's maybe Facebook. There's a lot of imposter syndrome that comes along with pitching, where you feel like, oh my God, they're going to reject me. They're going to say no. I don't want to bug them. They're going to be annoyed by me. I'm annoying. They're this like almighty sitting on a throne and, making decisions, out with you, off with their head. That's not how it is. And a lot of that comes from imposter syndrome, of feeling like you don't measure up, right? So the moment I started to realize that there are people on the other ends of these pitches and they want their work to be appreciated and acknowledged, I got to say, very few journalists are in it for the money. It's not a huge money, generating, unless you're really top of your game. It's not, there's not a ton of, listen, it's not like they're there because they are writers. They're passionate about writing. They're passionate about the topics they're writing about. And just let them know you appreciate their work. They're people, right? So I know that lots of PR pros see journalists as like, this is the other part of it. Like they're public servants who are there to feature clients. This is so good. Ready? So simple. Oh, Barb is texting me. Okay, hold on. Let me see what she's saying. Thanks, Barb. Oh, waiting for live video signal. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay, thanks, Barb. That's helpful. I'm fine on my end. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, yeah. So, and Monica, let me just read this comment. I'll get back to my last tip. To stand out in a journalist's inbox and show you're familiar with the voice of their publication they write for, scan their content for some signature words the publication uses and drop those words directly into your pitches. It's simple, right? And it's not, the other thing is don't do this in a very obvious casual way. Like if you're pitching a podcaster, if you're pitching a podcaster and you're like, your most recent podcast, and you mention their first podcast that they, the most recent one they put out, and some tidbit that's in the show notes that's so obvious, you like definitely just scanned and copied something very generic and it wasn't anything meaningful, and it's very obviously like a very thinly veiled attempt at being personal. What Monica is suggesting is pulling the language that they use, and it shows you are dialed into how they position content on their site, what words they use to talk to their readers, their readership, kind of some of their, signature words. And also mention, did it help, Gail? Is it better on tablet? So, and then also, mention the publication by name, because a lot of freelancers, and I got to tell you right now, we are like crushing it on pitches with our freelancers. Or that made it sound like so yes, we have freelancers in our agency and they crush it. But what I'm meaning to say is that freelance journalists who write for multiple publications have been the real key for us in securing meaningful press as of late. We're working with more and more freelancers. And if they like something, they'll feature it in multiple places in different ways. So they're not overlapping the type of content, but if they like, we do products, if they like the product, they find other ways to feature it. And they also will syndicate, not freelancers, but publications syndicate content all over. So like it'll be on Yahoo and BuzzFeed, and that's like massive distribution. And there are a lot of these things we're doing right now are lists with affiliate revenue. Anyway, so it's the freelancers for us that are making an impact. So we are clear which publication they write for that we're pitching, so that we're not just like, generic. Like we're really saying like, this is what you write for Forbes. This is what we're pitching for. Yeah, no problems on tablet. Okay, so it's not me. Sorry guys, it's Facebook. Okay, so journalists are not there as public servants to feature your clients. And also, we all know this. Freelancers are really changing the game for us and making a lot happen for us, which has been really good. And we talk about that in the pitch lab too, kind of the direction that things have moved into. Don't think you can just send a press release and that's equivalent. Like clients will say, send a press release, and they think like all this press is going to roll in. We know that's absolutely false and not the case whatsoever. Your pitches need to be truly newsworthy, and they need to stand out among a sea of pitches that they're receiving every single day. So your goal is to make their job easier. They're a person doing a job, probably producing more content than ever. Make their job easy. Realize that there is something they're looking for sources. How is your source going to be helpful to them? And don't follow up too quickly or be obnoxious in your follow-up. So just like PR pros, journalists have lives outside of work. Let's hope they do, and they probably do. And when it comes to work itself, they have a lot going on. So they need time to digest your story ideas. Sometimes they will, if you put certain keywords in the subject, they know to search in the subject for a certain thing that they saved or they bookmarked or whatever. Sometimes they have to create a story concept and run it by editors for approval before they even start working on it. So they'll save your email and then come back to it if there's something relevant for the story they pitch that they're now writing. So it takes time. So if you pitch a story on a Friday, and I know I said Friday, and the reason I said Friday, and Gail says, always find a news tie-in with what your client is doing. Totally. Timely, relevant. Why is it newsworthy now? I said Friday because there has been a comprehensive, very recent study, Propel did a study on pitches getting opened, pitches getting responses, and pitches that convert into features. And Friday was the number one day for all three. And I think the reason why is because as PR pros, we've been taught, say it with me now, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and not Friday and probably not Monday. So Fridays are like crickets. No one's pitching on Fridays. And now so the percentage of pitches sent on Fridays, but the percentage of those pitches sent that are opened, read and responded to, and result in a feature, all three highest on a Friday, comparable to the number of pitches sent, percentage-wise, okay? So I said Friday. I said it. Yeah, I said it. Anyway, if you pitch on a Friday, you're hoping for coverage, let alone a response to happen or a story to happen by the following Wednesday, that's probably a bit unrealistic. So plan your follow-up. Don't be annoying. Be helpful. Sometimes a friendly nudge is appreciated, But don't be that guy or gal that's like, was it something I said? It's usually men that do that. They're trying to be funny. It's so annoying, but you guys would never do that anyway. So follow up appropriately. Be helpful, not annoying. Don't pitch on a Friday. Follow up on a Monday, expecting a feature by Wednesday. This is not realistic. This is a huge part of why you need to be strategic about who you pitch and when. So it comes down to improving your pitching skills. We've talked about it a lot today. Timely, relevant content that's going to be useful and of value to these contacts. That's actually a great way to build better relationships with your media contacts. Nelson, I beg to differ. He says, don't ever pitch on Friday. It's a waste and it gets buried in their emails. I'm telling you, they're responding. They are much better to wait until Monday first thing in the morning. The Monday theory is that they're bogged down with, all the Monday morning stuff. And it's just like they're dealing with their stuff first. But Nelson is very prolific and he converts a lot of press. So there could be something to it. For sure, obviously, but this was a study that was done third party and it kind of was backed up by research and whatever. So try it and let me know what happens. But if you pitch on a Friday, don't follow up on a Monday because that's not 4 days. You're not waiting 4 days. You're waiting 1 day. It's one business day. Okay. And then also, and it sounds like Christina on Tuesdays. So everyone, Monica, pitches on Tuesdays. Everyone pitches Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's, I think, why the Friday pitches are fewer, but they get more responses. I don't know. I'm just don't shoot the messenger. This is what like years of being a PR pro have always said, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So no one's pitching Fridays. And now that everyone's kind of working from home and there's not like, Fridays where there's like, summer Fridays where they're out of the office early or they're not coming in. It's not, now it's 5 days a week and no one's really pitching on Friday. The inbox isn't as crowded. I know you're questioning it. I questioned it too. I'm just relaying a study. I'm trying to drink water. Try it, Monica, and please let us know what happens. My team has been doing it. Yeah, people, and Angel's right. She says, I think people can't wait to look at their emails. So even Fridays, they're looking. There is a dopamine hit, you guys. We're all getting it. We're getting it when yes, there. I know, we know you're a good writer. There is a dopamine hit when you get something. Slow news days. And Gail's saying I've actually made pitches on the weekend that got coverage. Slow news days. For something that is not truly newsworthy and like breaking news, try it on a Friday. But if it's like, oh my God, this is happening Saturday, there's an event, you have to be there tonight, that's a weekend pitch. But I wouldn't pitch my clients like products on a weekend. I think that's probably not necessary. It's not as urgent. They'll be like, why are you emailing me on a weekend? But yeah, we know Angel's saying you get a dopamine hit when you get something in your inbox and you can't resist looking at it. They're looking. It takes real discipline to not look at your inbox on a certain day and say, well, I'm not checking email. You have to like literally turn your phone off and put it away. Everyone's on their phones at all times, especially if they're out, they look, they see things. Maybe they'll save it for Monday, but you got their attention. So try it, Nelson, and let us know. Christina says, I'm not a journalist, but I'm more relaxed on Friday, so I can see why journalists might like to get pitches on Friday. You have more time to respond to emails. Exactly. And things have changed. The way that journalists are working, it's definitely changed, especially through COVID. They're working from home. Okay. So yeah, improve your relationships, timely, relevant pitches that will bring value, that show what they're up to, and you're providing something that will be useful to them. If you need to build your skills and become a pitching powerhouse, it sounds like Christine is considering, join the Pitch Lab. We go over everything that you need to know to craft really awesome, impeccable pitches that will get a response, that you get instant access to insanely good monthly execution plans with tons of resources. We have master classes. We bring in experts on certain topics and we do a deep dive. So there's themed master classes. And Gail says weekends are good for local community stories. Absolutely. Yeah, totally agree with that. We had a master class with the amazing Dr. Cheryl Robinson, and we dove into pitching top tier business publications. And a lot of what I'm telling you, actually everything I'm telling you today, aligns perfectly with what she shared. And several of you were on that call. Let me know how you liked it, with Dr. Cheryl Robinson, who writes for a publication that rhymes with Morbs. I don't know. Technically, we're not supposed to talk about it. She takes her connection her position very seriously, and we didn't want to do anything in promoting that would step on the relationship, but she deep dove into that and told us a lot of these things and how to get her attention. And of course, after sending a pitch, show your appreciation, share their articles, praise them publicly, amplify. They want eyeballs on their content. Amplify it, share it out to your social networks, have your clients share the article, the link to it in a newsletter, drive traffic to it. Amplifying a journalist's article is one of the best ways to show appreciation, to get their attention. And, if they get a ton of traffic that you generated for them by amplifying it, they'll probably feature you again, because they need to get traffic to be, a top writer on their platform. They want to drive traffic to their content. Don't let a relationship fizzle out or seem one-sided. Share it, engage with it, let them know how much you appreciate it. And there used to be this complete rule. Adrian says, yes, so many don't share. I always post on LinkedIn and Twitter. Yep. There used to be this complete rule against sending a journalist any kind of gift. They were not allowed to accept gifts. You guys, that is out the window. We just had a call about this yesterday, our agency accelerator call. We talked all about this. We were talking about holiday gifts for editors and for our clients, and we got into a deep discussion about gifts for editors. And you know what? They're accepting gifts. Sorry to tell you, they get free stuff all the time. It's part of the job. They're not supposed to, but I don't really see them turning them away ever. It's not necessarily having an impact on the stories they're writing. Yeah. It was just such an interesting discussion. And one of the women on the call is running a massive agency, like a multiple 7-figure agency. And she says that, and they're deep in a very specific niche, and it's a very aesthetic niche, right? So they're interested in, things that look pretty. I'm not going to, because I don't want to get too much. Yeah. And don't sleep on freelance. Absolutely. Freelancers are awesome where it's at. They're always looking for stories and angles. Totally agree with that. She sends the major agency, she sends multiple gifts every month. So they'll choose 5 or 10 that they want to build a relationship with and just send them a little something, box fox or a candle or something to get their attention. And they have used that to create really good relationships. It's just kind of wanting to introduce you to our agency, really excited to work with you. It's a way to open a dialogue. Same with the coffee, invite them to coffee, send them a can of iced coffee. But it used to be completely a no-no, huge taboo. It's not like that anymore. It's just not. They'll take a gift and it's not seen as improper. So I don't know, at least that's our experience, and the people in our programs are having that experience. I'm sure there's probably some rules out there with the publication that says we cannot accept gifts, but they are. Especially editors that are reviewing products, that's all they do. It's all gifts. They're reviewing products. whether you call it a gift or you call it a sample, whatever, they're taking it. So what's the difference? So anyway, does anyone have any questions? I know I'm probably glitching again, but let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to record a podcast about this topic and succinctly go over these tips, my 4 tips. Build a relationship before you formally pitch. Introduce yourself, ask for coffee. Try to make real connections rather than just self-promoting. That's a huge no-no. The biggest one is you have to do your research. Do your research. Know exactly what they're writing about. Make sure that it aligns, the thing you're pitching aligns. Ask yourself, why would they care about this? Bye-bye, go pick up your kid. Thanks, Angel. So, and the final is, remember that journalists are people. Oh, Nelson, awesome. Read the caption, read the comments here. He has a great couple wins that he just secured that tied into breaking news. That's so awesome. That's newsjacking. We talk about that in the pitch lab. That's obviously a very useful strategy, as long as it is not in poor taste. So if there's some sort of breaking tragedy and you're trying to tie a client's product into it, does it pass the ew factor test? Like, if it's breaking news, make sure that you're not, and Nelson does this beautifully because he's really a master at this, but you also just want to make sure that if there's something sort of negative, you don't want to tie into it or offer an expert that seems opportunistic. Okay. So just make sure that it doesn't pass, that it passes the ew, like the ick factor. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like tying into some like tragedy in some way. I mean, I've seen so many things where it's so cringy. It's beyond cringy. It's just in really, really, really poor taste. So we would never, ever do anything like that. So read Nelson's comment. And he, is aligning his client with these breaking news stories. So check that out. Really good, useful strategy. Does anybody else? And why would their audience care? Yes. So why would they care? Why would their audience care? Is it of value? How are you adding value to their readership? You show their readership. It's simple when you niche down, because then you don't have to do this for 500 publications. You're doing it for the main outlets that will move the needle for your clients. Okay. Such a good topic. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I don't think it was on my end. I'm like hardwired to the internet. And we have like really good fast, and the internet's right there. The telephone pole to the like main thing is right there. I don't know. Anyway, let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, guys. And if you have any questions about the Pitch Lab or Agency Accelerator, let us know. That was a really good call yesterday. We offered it as a bonus to the new members of the Agency Accelerator, and it's awesome. And we have people that join us from all over the world, which is it's the coolest thing. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you all for being here and bearing with me. Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer's one of the newest members of the Agency Accelerator. Welcome. Good to see you as always, just as we're about to bounce and jump off. Yeah, that's what I have for you today. Any announcements? Check out our programs, and if I can answer any questions about them, let me know. We'd love to see you inside. And thank you as always for being here and being a part of our community. I really appreciate all of you, and I will see you next week. Bye.